Welcome to Racquet Club Estates, one of the most iconic and famous mid-century modern neighborhoods in Palm Springs. People come from all over the world to see these homes that were designed by architects like Wlliam Krisel, Donald Wexler, Jack Meiselman, and it's often a stop on the Modernism Week tour. And in this video, I'm going to show you 6 homes that were featured on the Modernism Week tour in Racquet Club Estates during 2026. We're going to go inside. I've also got some bonus footage for you. And if you hang around till the end of the video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Racquet Club Estates, whether you're thinking of just coming here to see it or you want to buy a home here. I can help you with that. I'm a Palm Springs real estate broker. Or you may be looking for an Airbnb to stay at. Now, we're not going to see this gorgeous folded plate roof steel Wexler house behind us, unfortunately, but you're really going to like the ones we see. My name is Ellis Posner. I'm a Palm Springs realtor. I work with buyers and sellers from all over the US, Canada, and overseas in all price ranges, so feel free to reach out if you want to buy a home in Palm Springs, whether in Racquet Club Estates or any of these other amazing neighborhoods. Check-in for the Racquet Club Estates Modernism Week Tour 2026 was held at Victoria Park. And over 600 people had signed up, so they gave us this handout showing the 6 homes on the tour, and then a QR code to this booklet that the Racquet Club Estates Neighborhood Organization had put out. And I'm going to show you the QR code so you can check it out later on your own, and put a link in the description as well as the chapters for this video. I love, those are my 2 favorite elevations for the exteriors. And if you look at the map here of Racquet Club Estates, you see it has a quite odd kind of layout compared to other neighborhoods in Palm Springs. It's probably the largest neighborhood organization, an identified neighborhood with over 550 homes, 350 of which were from the Alexander Construction Company. And 5 of the 6 homes on the Modernism Week Tour 2026 were Alexander's, designed by Wlliam Krisel. We're going to start at this one. I often don't start at the first one so I can get in and get some video before it gets too crowded. And there is one Meiselman on the tour. Jack Meiselman was a different developer than the Alexander Construction Company. That house is really cool. I think you're going to like a lot of what I show you there. And oh yeah, there's the house I was standing in front of at the intro, the Wexler Steel House. We love our cars, you know. This one car here, which is in front of the Meiselman. I got a little story about that I'm going to tell you when we get up to that one. And here's the QR code I mentioned. And as I mentioned, I'll put a link to it in the description, as well as I'll put different chapters so you can jump around in this, because I cover some bonus footage that was not included in this tour. Yeah, and here's a great classic car in front of the house. So this is the first one we're going to see. It's on a cul-de-sac, and those glass doors, which are so common on mid-century homes these days, those were all carports originally. And before we go inside, let's check out the backyard. This is on a cul-de-sac, so you get some great views facing west of the mountain. And a couple of things people ask me about almost always are those corrugated steel fences. Don't those get hot in the summer? Yeah, they do, but they also cool down pretty quickly. And as long as you don't plant anything too close to it, because it does radiate heat, they're pretty cool to look at. Another thing people ask me about are the telephone wires, and the neighborhood organization is working to underground those. So this is the living room of this Alexander, and we see the standard features, the floor-to-ceiling glass doors and sliders, the indoor-outdoor kind of integration, and you see the painted beams. There is a fireplace in this one. You don't always see those. And this home had been remodeled over the years, and the kitchen was expanded, so it's more of a contemporary size. As you'll see in some of the other Alexanders I show you, both on the tour and in the bonus footage, a lot of the kitchens were kind of small by today's standards, but you know, things change over time. So this one's really nice. They use wallpaper in different places for accent. They got some nice artwork, and as I said, very authentic with the clerestory windows, the beams, and other elements of mid-century modernism. Now, this home was expanded, and this new primary bedroom was added, and I've heard multiple times, that was the original primary bedroom there, that Krisel did not like what a lot of people did to expand these homes, which were originally about 1225 square feet, very small by today's standards. You see another one of the secondary bedrooms here. And again, even with the clerestory windows, just looking out, just really great. Now this room, I think they took some space away when they expanded the kitchen, is what it looked like to me. And yeah, let's just check it out again for a second. And just really a great example. Oh, this house next door was originally owned by Steve McQueen. He lived in Racquet Club Estates before he bought his home in Southridge, and that home is right next to the Elrod home that was in the James Bond movie. You see that over to the right of the screen there, Diamonds Are Forever. All right, a little divergence from the tour. Our next stop on the Modernism Week tour of Racquet Club Estates is here at 1191 Francis, with, of course, a Volkswagen Beetle parked outside. I like Francis. It's a great street. It runs east-west, so as you're heading west, you see some great mountain views from the street. We're going to start in the backyard, as I often do with these houses. And what you see to the left and now center of the screen is a casita they added. So, these lots in Racquet Club Estate are 10,000 square feet, and people have added a number of exterior structures. You'll see the living room, the primary bedroom. A lot of this is very similar to the other house we had previously seen. There was just a couple of variations of the different floor plans. The bedrooms were most often on the same side of the house, and a number of different exteriors. And again, these were meant as weekend homes. They were $16,000 when they sold in 1959 and 1960. And there's art imitating life. I'm filming something, and I'm being filmed by my wife, who actually, I'll give a shout out to her, has filmed about 90% of what you see on this channel, all about Palm Springs, and I do all the editing, but she does the filming. Okay, the next stop. 2155 George. There was actually two homes on this block on the Modernism Week tour of Racquet Club Estates. And yes, we have the obligatory car parked outside. And speaking of cars, after I show you the 6 homes on the Modernism Week tour and some bonus footage of some other homes, I'm going to drive you around Racquet Club Estates, and you get a sense of what it's like. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions you may have about the neighborhood and talk a little bit about what the current pricing is and what's going on. So again, the same kind of beams we see in the other homes, those are authentically done in the style of the era. And another great backyard. As you see, a lot of these pools are different shapes. They're all pretty large, but they're different shapes. And everyone's kind of done their own thing to enhance them with the indoor-outdoor living and, dining or bars outside or whatever. Now, this house has a really unique feature in that what looks like was the carport or garage, they turned it into another casita. And you see it looks like 2 queen beds there, or full beds. Those are pretty large. And yeah, so there's no garage, there's no carport. I don't know how I'd feel about having my car parked outside in the summer heat, but people do that. All right, let's go to the next one, and this is the Meiselman I wanted to tell you about. So Meiselman was a different developer. For those following along in the booklet, this is on Via Miraleste. And before we go in, okay, here's the car I pointed out in the booklet. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow, this has got to be like, this is in amazing condition. It's got to be like 60, 70 years old. And I'm just marveling at it. And like, then I'm speaking to the owner of the house and I find out it's a replica. It's looks like a Porsche body, but it was built on a Volkswagen. She thought, she wasn't 100% sure. Her husband, she said, would know more about it, but I never got the chance to ask him. So one of the things, a couple of distinguishing features about the Meiselmans from the Alexanders. One is that the Alexanders tend to have the 3 bedrooms on the one side of the house The Meiselmans may have 2 bedrooms on one side and the third on the other side. And oh yeah, these people are heavily into the rock and roll thing. I'm going to show you some really cool things. Like that was a Mick Jagger shirt he actually wore on a Rolling Stones tour. Little diversion there. Okay, let's get back to the house. Okay, so you see the same kind of beams and the great room effect, and they had a lot of really cool stuff, I got to say. And one of the things sometimes people don't like about the Meiselmans is this galley kitchen. And unlike the Alexanders, where you can expand the kitchen, there's not much you can do with this. Again, nice indoor-outdoor flow. I like the ping pong table there. And they have both a casita, of course, the poolside gossip variation on the wall in the exterior. Got to have that. They have both a casita and then a really cool like bar next to the pool, which I'll be showing you. And just a little bit seen there. You see that bar off in the distance. We're going to get closer to that. And this is the rock and roll casita. As I said, these people are really into their rock souvenirs, and I kind of dug it. It was like a lot of things from my year. I don't play guitar anymore, but I used to. And my back wasn't so bad, I guess I'd still play. A little bit too much information, huh? So a very cool space they created. And here's that outdoor bar. Looks to me like they reclaimed some space from the carport or garage, possibly reconfigured that. And, you know, just a nice effect. Some old posters there. And I really like the seating they did out there. Those are actually seats. And here's the backyard again. So as I mentioned before, with 10,000 square feet lots, you can do an awful lot, no pun intended, on these Racquet Club Estates homes. And here's another car, of course. This is at 2832 Davis Way. And when I get to the bonus footage, I'm going to show you the house across the street, which I previewed for some of my out-of-town buyer clients. And yeah, so we got the cars. Remember, I'm doing that drive around when we're done with the 6 houses on the Modernism Week tour, plus my bonus footage. So, okay, let's go inside this one. Now, this one, the size of the kitchen is more original. It's been somewhat updated. And again, you know, this should start to look pretty familiar. You know, you've seen a number of variations of this. A nice cathedral ceiling there, and cathedral is different than vaulted. You see the bedroom size with the clear story windows again. You know, it's just this one is facing west, so you may not get quite the drama from the backyard as you saw in some of the other ones. I always prefer the houses on either the west side of the street, like the one across the street I'm going to show you, and I also like the ones in the cul-de-sacs where they're positioned well to see the mountains. But this, you do see the mountains from the bedroom, so that's kind of cool. Obviously, I'm zooming in there. Another bedroom. This one, the beam is the same color as the exposed wood. Again, these are relatively small by today's standards, but these were meant as weekend getaways for people that wanted to come to Palm Springs and go to the Racquet Club. And I'm going to be telling you what actually happened to the Racquet Club and why this neighborhood's called Racquet Club Estates. And as I mentioned, answering a whole bunch of questions, some of which I bet you didn't even know you had. So, yeah, let's head outside and look at the yard. And let's talk about those telephone poles and wires again. The Racquet Club Estates neighborhood organization is looking at undergrounding those. They're working with the city to do that. I know the old Las Palmas neighborhood doing something similar. They may be a little bit further along. And yes, you do get mountain views even on the east side of the street. I do prefer, as I said, the homes on the west side, but they're all great. Anyway, so nice use of the backyard space. You have the you see that system out there for the AC and the eating area. Pools different shape than some of the other pools we saw. And people say that if these wires were undergrounded, it could increase property values 5 to 10%. I've heard some even say up to 20%. That seems a little bit aggressive with some other things going on in this neighborhood now, which I will be talking to you about. So we've seen 5 of the 6 homes on the Modernism Week tour of Racquet Club Estates in the winter of 2026, going out through the carport area here. And we're going to get to the last one. Certainly not least, I just kind of went in my own order on these, as I often do. And remember, I'm going to be showing you the house right across the street. You're going to find that very interesting for what they did on some of the remodel work there. So hang around till we get there. And that house was owned by Bobby Darin, of Mac the Knife fame, and he was married to Sandra D. So, a lot of celebrities have lived in Racquet Club Estates over the years. All right, check out this really cool old Mercedes. I love the wood they use in there. And this house is on George. We saw another house on this street. Very, very cool. Let's check it out some more after I get done gawking at the car. And speaking of cars, at some point they're going to be posting a Best of Modernism Week video compilation of a number of different years, which is why you should subscribe to the All About Palm Springs channel. And I've got some amazing footage from some vintage car shows that were held as part of Modernism Week. So as we go inside, nothing you haven't seen before except that orange highlighted wall, and I love that freestanding Malm fireplace. Really, really, really cool, and gives it a really nice period authenticity, as well as the beams, and you see what they did there. Here's the backyard for this one. Nice mountain views. They kept the orange theme going into the backyard as well. And great mountain views as you're going to get from most of the homes in Racquet Club Estates. And let's see, they gave a name of this one. As you look through the booklet, you'll see a lot of these homes have names, which often people do for Airbnbs, but sometimes people do that for the homes they just live in themselves. And let's check out the backyard some more. One of the things that makes Racquet Club Estates so unique is that while the interiors, are just fairly repetitive, particularly of the Alexanders, which are more than half the homes there, the exteriors, each one is in a different, unique location with a unique set and a unique view. And then people have personalized these, and I'm going to show you some of the more customized ones. This has pretty much the standard size kitchen. And let's head back out again. A lot of people put some overhangs to enjoy that indoor-outdoor eating. And yeah, we see the steel fences again, which, as I mentioned, very common. Compared to like wood, which can get damaged by termites and can get deteriorated over time, or vinyl, which can warp. Some people use cinder blocks and some people use the corrugated steel. Nice setting on the backyard. I really like what they did there, and just works well with the interior. You got that sail there for the eating. And let's take a look at that main great room again, because it was really cool how they the colors they used and the positioning of everything, and the real kind of mid-mod MCM kind of look there. So yeah, typical Alexander in Racquet Club Estates. So you're probably hearing my voice starting to get a little bit raspy. Let me drink some tea for a minute or two and continue to walk you through this house. I'll put some background music on, but don't go anywhere because we got a lot still coming on the Racquet Club Estates tour. Those were the 6 homes, and I'm going to show you 4 more homes, and then we're going to drive around and see the neighborhood, and I'm going to answer a ton of questions and a lot more great stuff coming. So hang on while I drink some tea. We're going to be continuing on the tour. Hopefully you really enjoyed seeing those 6 amazing mid-century modern homes in Racquet Club Estates in Palm Springs. As you know, they were featured on the Modernism Week tour in 2026, and they're really, really good examples, but I'm going to show you some different ones. So I've been saying all along I had 4 more bonus properties to show you. Well, when I started editing this, I found I actually have 6. So we're going to see 6 more properties in Racquet Club Estates. Now, 4 of them have been really expanded and updated. One of them is kind of more original, and one is a pretty good example of what not to do if you're trying to sell one of these. And then after that, after those 6 mid-mod homes in Racquet Club, and they're all Alexanders incidentally, then we're going to drive around so I can show you the neighborhood. This house is on Davis, right across the street from one of the houses we saw on the Modernism Week tour. I pointed it out when we were at that house, and now we're back so I can show it to you. And classic Alexander roof line. They did kind of paint the exterior maybe a different color than the original houses. I have a couple of comments about that. And as you can see, you recognize this kind of living room now as being an Alexander. And they added a 4th bedroom to this one. They updated the kitchen, obviously, but it still has more or less the same form factor as the earlier examples do. They do have the freestanding fireplace there. We saw that in one of the ones on the Modernism Week tour, a very mid-mod effect. Now, this bathroom, which they added, is not. I mean, this is really great luxury kind of bathroom. And they added this as well as this whole wing here with a 4th bedroom, which is a quite of an ample size, nice walk-in closet, which you really don't see in the original Alexanders. And really, really nice bedroom, which is larger than you see in the original Alexanders and Racquet Club. And they kept the mid-century modern architectural elements, such as the clear-story windows, the ceiling to floor glass with the sliders. And this one looks very nicely south out onto the pool area. So yeah, you can definitely fit a nice king bed in there. So let's go out to the outside area. Now, you see this space here in the breezeway between the carport and the house. And curious what you think. Comment down below about the yellow and then the white on the windows on the exterior. Interesting design element. As we look back inside, maybe I didn't realize those windows are a little bit dirty. Yeah, but anyway, nice use of wallpaper inside. So this space right here, I'm going to show you another example, maybe a couple of other examples, like this one that was on the Modernism Week tour previously, not the 2026 one, that Atomic Ranch hosted a talk at. And you see how on this one they had really expanded the kitchen because they brought that breezeway inside. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, Krisel, the original architect, didn't like it when people did this kind of stuff. I love the doors they did. Of all the original bedrooms we've seen, those are my favorite doors for the closets. But Krisel didn't like it when people did this, but you know, he designed those houses in the 1950s, and they weren't meant as full-time residences. And these days, people just have different requirements. Now, you can be a purist, and you could not like some of the things. Here's the Modernism, the Atomic Ranch tour. I love Atomic Ranch. Check out their magazine and website; very authentic. You could be preservationist and an originalist, and not like what the some of these enhancements people made, or you could say, hey, got to do what we got to do. We're keeping the original houses and look and feel. That was on the right. That was the owner of this house that was on the tour. In the center was the contractor. He's waving there, and on the left, the representative from Atomic Ranch. And if you ever get a chance to see any of their events on Modernism Week, very, very, very highly recommended. Now here's another example of the same kind of floor plan, but even more highly upgraded. This one does keep more of the feel of the original beams that you saw. And this does not necessarily go for that mid-century modern feel. It's more of a much more contemporary feel. You'd expect to see this in new construction, maybe from Woodbridge or PLC or Toll Brothers. But I think the listing agent for this one, which I previewed for one of my out-of-town clients, he told me they took this one down to the studs. The addition they did here, other than what I've shown you, they added this ADU. And I'll speak elsewhere about the difference between an ADU and a casita, because there technically is a difference. But, this is the ADU we're seeing here. Extremely, extremely modern. Just a great look and feel to this one. And again, they kept the architectural elements of mid-century. And here we move to one that I think this one was my favorite. I wish I had it in a wider kind of landscape, not portrait video. But I love what they did with this one. Again, these are all pretty much the same interior, all modernized. I loved the polished concrete floor there. I love what they did with the finish work and other things here. Really my favorite. Most authentic for me. I think this is kind of, this is just a great example of what you can do with these old houses. Now in that bedroom they added much wider sliders than you usually have. Let's head out to the backyard. This one was on Lindsay, which is an east-west street, so you do get some pretty amazing views of the mountain from this yard, and it was really, really, really a nicely done yard. And panning around here, just really, really great landscaping and really great mountain views, and the pool, everything just really, 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 really well done. I think when people think of coming to Palm Springs, maybe getting an Airbnb or moving here, this is kind of what they think about. And the work here, they did keep the mid-century modern architectural elements, which I think really, really, really makes a difference. So if you're adding square feet, if you're adding any windows, any punch-outs, keep that original feel. Now here's one, speaking of original, that kind of was original. Another one I checked out for my out-of-town buyers, and I work with a lot of people from all over the U.S., Canada, and overseas, as I mentioned. I'm a Palm Springs Realtor, and again, you're going to recognize this living room, classic Alexander, and this one is in more of its original condition, but updated. So you see the kitchen is the original size. And even though you keep hearing me say small by today's standards, still quite livable. Not everyone needs a 3,000 square foot house. So I really like what they did with this one. This is what it looked like in 1959 probably. So backyard, again, this is kind of like living the dream here in Palm Springs. This is what you want in the Palm Springs backyard. You got those chairs out looking at the mountain, and you got the palm trees, and you got the fire pit there, and really, really, really well done in the backyard. And this is why I said before I like being on these cul-de-sacs if I was buying one, or being on the west side of any of the streets. I like what they did with the architecture there. Now, this is one, looks great from the outside, but this was my example of what you don't want to do with an Alexander. Like, kind of like vibe kill, right? I mean, I like the floating effect on the fireplace, and they kept the original fireplace, but those track lights and, I mean, they really missed the boat on this one. This house could have been gorgeous. I don't know why they even bothered to spend the money to update it. That kitchen has been updated, but like, why? What are you doing there? Backyard, now you see they put a garage door in the front of the carport, and you see the space right there where they could have extended that kitchen and done something really amazing. So, there's just a lot of variations of the theme here, and hopefully you get a sense of what these mid-century modern Alexanders are like in Racquet Club Estates in Palm Springs. So we've been inside 12 amazing mid-century modern homes in Racquet Club Estates, and now I want to drive around the neighborhood and kind of show you what it's like. I've heard it said that for a lot of people, if they just close their eyes and imagine Palm Springs, Racquet Club Estates is what they see. And yeah, I get why that could be so. So let's start with, where is Racquet Club Estates found? Racquet Club Estates is basically south of San Rafael, even though it's only a small section on the north west corner. That's south of San Rafael. Most of it is south of Francis. And then it's north of Vistacino, but again, that's mostly the Meiselmans that are just north of Vistacino. So think of the bulk of it as being between Francis and Via Escuela. And then the east and west boundaries, Indian Canyon is the western boundary of Racquet Club Estates. And on the east, most of the homes are west of Avenida Caballeros, but there are a few homes just south of Francis and north of Racquet Club that are also in Racquet Club Estates. Now, during this video, you may have heard some airplane noise. So, is Racquet Club Estates in the flight path? Technically, no. Desert Park Estates, which is slightly to the east, is considered much more directly in the flight path and noisier, but it's common in North Palm Springs to hear airplanes either taking off or landing. Another question I get is whether Racquet Club Estates is in the windy zone. Yes, it is considered windy. Anything north of Vistacino definitely gets more wind than anything south of Vistacino and definitely south of Ramon Road. Now, the wind is not year-round. It could be quite intensive during the spring and early summer, and sometimes people get their chairs next to those pools we've seen blown into the pool, or the umbrellas start flying around. You know, for the most part, 4, 5, 6 months of the year, you're barely going to notice any wind. In a couple of months, it could be really intense. The wind doesn't know we say it dies down at Vistacino, so, you know, it's just a thing in the desert. You get wind. Is Racquet Club Estates on leased land? No. Racquet Club Estates is primarily built on land you own, also referred to as fee simple. But whenever you're buying a home in Palm Springs, it's essential to verify that it's on land you own. You can assume these single-family houses we're driving past in Racquet Club Estates are all on fee simple land, meaning land you own. How much are homes in Racquet Club Estates? Expect to spend around $1 million to about $1.4 million. For $1 million, you're going to get a not very updated, fairly original 1,225 square foot original Alexander, possibly a Meiselman. As you look at the ones with added square footage, rooms, enclosed breezeways, enclosed garages, on some of the better streets and locations with views, then you might be at $1.2 million, $1.3 million, $1.4 million. So some of the examples I showed you, not on the Modernism Week tour, but in the bonus footage, some of those first couple of ones could hit easily $1.3 million, $1.4 million, possibly even higher for the one that the Atomic Ranch did their presentation at. Then the more original ones that you saw both on the tour and the one I highlighted in the extra footage, those could be closer to around $1 million. And then like that one I said, that's what was not to do, that would sell for well under $1 million. But by the time you put the work into it that would be needed, you'd be back over $1 million. So if you think around $1,000 a square foot, $1,225 with current updates and systems and mechanicals, that's a good starting place, and then back off or add from there. Can you do short-term rentals in Racquet Club Estates? Technically, yes, but right now, as of the time of this video, Racquet Club Estates has far exceeded the 20% per neighborhood allowable amount of permits. You might be able to get a junior permit, which will not give you as many contracts per year. And of course, if you're doing 30-day or longer rentals, then that's currently, at the time of this video, not subject to the short-term rental rules. So if you're looking for a home to buy for investment for short-term rentals, Racquet Club Estates, as cool as it is and great mid-mod vibe, is probably, at least as of 2026, not the right investment. Let's cue up some more music and continue driving around Racquet Club Estates, one of the most amazing mid-century modern neighborhoods, not only in Palm Springs, but just about anywhere in the world. And hang around to the very end because I'm going to come back. I've got more to tell you. I'm not quite done yet. Why is this neighborhood called Racquet Club Estates? Well, it was the site of the very famous Racquet Club that was frequented by a number of Hollywood celebrities in the 50s and 60s. It was quite popular. A lot of people came out from LA to go to the Racquet Club. Unfortunately, it had been abandoned for a number of years and it burnt down under some suspicious circumstances in around 2014, but you can still buy a home there today. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour. Remember to subscribe to All About Palm Springs. And if you're thinking of buying a home here, give me a call. I've been selling real estate in Southern California for multiple decades. And when the time is right for you to buy, I want to be your agent. Ellis Posner, Palm Springs real estate broker, Realtor. Namaste, Palm Springs. Thanks so much for watching.